So I want to do this video on something that was really a bit of a concern for me, and that I noticed kind of kept a real grip on me as I was progressing through the dark night of the soul. And that was this thing of the more, and I don't like using a lot of these words I'm about to use, but there is no other way of explaining it. Words like enlightenment and consciousness and waking up and stuff. It sounds very self-indulgent, but it's not meant in that way. We have to use language in order to talk about this stuff. But as I've become more and more conscious through my progression of the dark night of the soul, I started to realize that I would become more and more kind of isolated away from the world at the same time. Now, before that starts worrying you, that also come along with a touch of, it was kind of how I felt it needed to be. That was how I felt that I needed to, that was the area I needed to go to in order to fulfill this assignment of being in the dark night of the soul, if you like. Not that it's ever kind of fulfilled as such, but I'm sure you get the point that I'm trying to say. But it really did for a while kind of keep me stuck, because what would happen is, as I was kind of consciously awakening, at one point it seemed so fast, all this inner wisdom that I kind of seemed to know about myself and my life and my circumstances were just kind of flooding my head. And I was trying to make sense of all of this wonderful stuff. But at the same time as it being wonderful, it was also making me sound crazy to those people around me. But as I started to become more conscious about things, like I say, I would kind of then withdraw from people. But because the becoming more conscious was making me withdraw, that was also making me feel like this is never going to end. I got scared that I would become like a total recluse, someone who was completely reserved and just spent their life alone and stayed indoors. But the funny thing is, that is kind of what is happening. I do spend more and more and more time alone. But the good thing is with this is that you're kind of comfortable with that. And so that would create in me this feeling of, I kind of felt like I knew I needed to be alone. I know that I like being alone and spending time alone, but the egoic mind kicks in and tells me that that's really quite sad. And the more that as I'm trying to talk to people and relate to people and engage to people, the more I know they're not understanding what I'm saying, or maybe thinking I'm crazy or nuts, so which I get told quite a lot. The more that kind of happens, the more you kind of withdraw. But it's not a withdrawal, guys, because you're feeling like you're not worthy of them, if you like. You're not worthy of fitting in. There's something wrong with you. No, you know there's something incredibly right with you. And because there's something so incredibly right with you, you've seen a lot of you for the reality that you are, for the real you is what I mean there. You start seeing the real you. The real you is no longer interested in the things that you talk about with people. It becomes boring and monotonous. And the other thing that you start to notice as well is, or this is certainly in my case, I noticed most people's conversations is superficial ego to ego conversations, and it becomes very draining on the energies to actually be around that. And that was where I got to the point of I wanted a community around me, and that's kind of where the idea to do these YouTube videos come from. Was I wanted to find people that had a mind that kind of, when I say a mind, want of a better word, guys, for the video, that had a mind that would work like mine, that had a mind that could understand what I'm saying. And 701 of you now seem to be understanding what I'm saying. So that's the beauty of when you follow that consciousness, when you stop being scared. This is a great example. Stop being scared of things like being alone, because that's only the egoic mind and the conditioning that tells us being alone is a failure, or it's sad, or we're weird because we're on our own and we're losing all our friends. No, you're gaining you. You're not losing friends, you're gaining you. And when you get to know the best version of you, you've got the best friend in the world right there. Sounds woo-woo and corny. Good, it's going to have to sound woo-woo and corny, because it's a reality of how it actually is. And off the back of tapping into that and seeing that you are your own best friend, that you're then not nervous to kind of do things like this, put a video out, or play music, you want to express your consciousness through your music or through your art, or however it might appeal to you to do things, because you've always got you, that gives you that courage, that fearlessness. I've spoke about it before, but that is the beauty of when you do when you get to know that person that you are. I'm struggling a bit there, guys, because I literally have at the moment, I can't tell you how many things are crashing into my brain that I want to kind of explain it, and I'm trying to stay on topic, but it's like trying to stay on topic with a million things crossing over like that. They're not stressing me out, it's just I have to try and decipher what ones work with this video and what ones don't, which is why I'm actually toying with the idea of doing another channel where I just hit record and just speak. And for those who aren't interested in my digressing and rambling on, then they can stick to this channel, and those that kind of just want to sit back sometimes and put the headphones on and listen to someone talk about their spirituality or their spiritual awakening, dark night of the soul, it would be perfect for them. Because sometimes, well, all the time, I don't know what's coming next. Stuff comes up and comes out, like it just did for about the last 40 seconds there. But so when you do get to know the true person that you are, you have that fearlessness, and that makes you get involved with other things, and then you, like I say, you'll do things like this, put video out, and you'll create that community around you. So although on the surface, if you draw back and look into your life, it looks like you're losing everything, but that's because that's the way the egoic mind is conditioned to look at things. Of, oh my God, everything's going, everything's leaving me. We're not taught that when things leave, it creates room for more to come in. We're not taught that, so we won't automatically go to that. But our consciousness will bring us into that. As we awaken, it will bring us into that sort of, oh, those things are going, it's not easy, because some of them are close friends. So it's not like something you go, oh, okay, that's done, I'll move on to this. No, there is a transitional period there. There's a sadness that comes in, a somberness, I think is the right word, a sorrow that you're losing these friends, and you're not losing them. It's just that you're growing into yourself, and the more that you grow into yourself, the less room you have for things that will create in you maybe a toxic reaction. And a toxic reaction can look like frustration, it can look like anger, it can look like maybe even resentment, hurt, turmoil, having to put up with passive aggressive comments from people. And you put up with the passive aggressive comments from people because when you're trying to explain something to them and they give you a passive aggressive comment, how could you actually turn around and go, hey, listen, my mind's split, my ego's left me, I know what I'm talking about and you don't. You'd be looked at like you're an egotistical tosser. So we can't, and that's why we end up going quiet. And you go quiet as well, because this is the beauty of when you spiritually awaken. The need to be right is not there in you anymore. The feelings, those tiresome, draining, exhausting feelings that we had in the Matrix, they leave. They leave you. There's no need to be right. I actually can't tell you the number of conversations I have with people now who tell me that I'm talking nonsense. It doesn't work in the real world, Tobe. And I just, oh, okay, cool, yeah, it doesn't work for everyone. I just pull out the conversation, because I don't need to be, I don't even like saying I as I'm talking on here, but I have to for the video, for you guys that are down and kind of in this brewing pot area and not sure what's going on. But you can, I've totally lost my train of thought. And that's Dark Night of the Soul right there, guys. That's Dark Night of the Soul right there. It's like I say, there's a million things going on and I've totally lost what I was talking about. And you know what? That's okay. I think it's healthy sometimes for you guys to realise that to do the things in life that you want to do, you don't have to be great at them. You don't have to be perfect at them. People out there will like you for your failures, if you like, what the egoic mind might call a failure. People out there like that. Certainly you guys seem to like that in me. From day one I've digressed off topics and all my videos. You're still here listening away. So my strength is actually my weakness, my lack of ability through dyslexia to concentrate on the one topic. And because I can't read as I'm talking, I have no choice. If I want to do these videos, I have no choice but to hit record and say what happens, and we'll see how it goes. And as I'm talking now, I'm racking my brain thinking, what was I actually talking about? Oh, that's what I was talking about. So because you no longer have that need to be right anymore, you don't need, you don't have this. If you remember in the Matrix, when you had that egoic mind, you was constantly at loggerheads with people. Maybe the whole day, even without you knowing it half the time, would be, that's better. Even without you knowing it half the time, would be spent wanting to justify yourself at all times to everybody. And it could be something so simple and so mild, but you'd feel this need to over-explain yourself to people. And you'd want them to think that whatever it might be wasn't you, or you know, whatever the topic might be, you want them to think that you was doing good or whatever else. But that crazy underlying feeling that we all walk around with in the Matrix, that's not there anymore. And so when you're now talking to those same old friends, because that feeling's not there, you withdraw from the conversation. You just, for want of a better word for the video again, guys, you just let them have it, let them win, and you just come away from that. And that might sound odd, because there's that part of us that wants to tell them something, but especially about ourselves, when they're telling us what's best for us, and we're like, no, I know what's best for me. That was the point I was trying to make before, when I said my mind's split. I know what I'm talking about and you don't. I meant about ourselves. And it's like, but you can't, you feel like you can't say that to them. But this is the wonderful thing. You don't feel the need to say that to them anymore. So you will just literally kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, cheers for that. And you move away. Because if you stay in that conversation with that person, you have to remember that you are talking to someone that's still heavily under the influence of the conditioning. And the conditioning, guys, be under no illusion about it, is so much deeper than any of us could fathom. So much deeper. It's incredible. And it's, I don't even like talking about this, because it kind of sounds like I'm talking down about people that haven't spiritually awakened. I haven't got the vocabulary sometimes to say things in this way that I mean it respectably. It actually hurts me that those people are still unconscious in the Matrix. They are victims of a system that hypnotizes us to be yes people, to conform to absolutely everything that's going on. And it's in the conforming into everything that's going on that creates such misery in us, because we won't go and express our true desires or our true wants in life, because we don't know what they are. For a start, they're crushed out of skull. But secondly, we don't want to go against the system. We don't want to go against the norm. And what I mean by we don't want to go against the system, we don't want to go against the norm of what the system has taught us. Get your education, get a job, and there's your career. To go against that is to stand out amongst our peers. We don't want to stand out amongst our peers for hundreds of reasons, but two of them will be because we're scared that if we fail, we look stupid to them. And the other one is we know that a lot of people will turn around and say, what are you getting out your pram for? Who do you think you are? You know, and that's why it's not worth having those conversations with the people, because that's where it draws you down. It hurts, and it can also make you angry. Although it's such full of contradictions, spirituality. So when you're trying to explain it, it's full of contradictions. But it does also get to a level where that stuff just becomes irrelevant, and you don't find yourself in those situations. And that brings me back round to why you do become, and you enjoy spending that time alone. This video was really kind of full of like the good points and the bad points, wasn't it? But I could actually just sit here and just talk for hours, but I don't want to, you know, I don't want to bore people or lose people's attention. I've noticed with a lot of my videos, people kind of switch off at certain points, and a lot of the time, I've noticed on my videos that the timings when they'll pull out is when I mention stuff like you have to do your inner work. So many leave at that point. It's incredible. But that goes to show you how the egoic mind, for those people who click off at that point, is still working. It's like, oh, I'm not doing that. No, I thought you was going to give me an answer, mate. That's their mind as they're watching, is they want the answer now. But if you're still here at this point, after all, this is probably my most digressed video yet. If you're still here at this point, something there is clicking with you. Even if it's the odd sentence, the odd word here and there is clicking with you. That's all the bona fide proof you need that you're going in the right direction. Because I and many of the other guys on here, lots of them leave comments as well, guys. I don't know if many of you read other people's comments, but it's worthwhile. There's some people on here that really know, are really in touch with their own spirituality, and they leave some wonderful comments. But you know you're on the right path, because we've all been there. We've all been there, and you can physically see it with me. I'm proof of that person that's going on. And for those that are new to me, go back and have a look at my other video. I forget the title of it now. I'll leave the link in the subscription, in the thing down below, description below. Go and have a look at that, and at the end you'll see my ugly face and my photo. That's how much emotional pain I was in. So you can literally see the evolvement of yourself there once you learn how to accept that all these things that you're thinking, all these things that you're feeling, they're all perfectly normal. You're right where you need to be, and you're doing exactly what it is that you need to be doing at this moment. And as I say that, I'm aware lots of you won't understand that, but just know that you will understand that eventually. But anyway, guys, I hope that was interesting to some of you. I'm sorry I've been a little bit quiet. Like I say, I had a ton of emails from a lot of people, and I try and reply to all of you, but it's quite difficult, especially when I'm out and about as well, and I'm hiking around and doing my stuff and whatever else. But I'll try and also with the equipment I've got, my new phone is probably no different from the other phone, to be honest with you, but I really need to get some better equipment so I can record when I'm out and about and do stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going to go and leave you all to it. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and it gives you some food for thought for a Friday. And I'll do my next video over the weekend at some point, and we'll touch base there. But if any of you want to chat, then please feel free to email me. It's always great to hear from you. Hello to the new subscribers that have come on board. And yeah, if you could hit like, and if you could subscribe if you're new here, it would be awesome. Right, guys, I love every one of you. I hope you're all well. Peace.